What am I doing down here? That's the question Matt Williams kept asking himself when he came to CBN back in the 1980s. He was starring as Dr. Ben Martin in CBN's soap opera Another Life. And a few years later, he discovered exactly why he was here.
Having written, produced, or created several of the most successful comedies in television history, The Cosby Show, Roseanne, and Home Improvement, Matt Williams remains a guy who looks for the good in life. When he's not helping others hone their craft at Columbia University, Matt enjoys life on the farm with his beloved wife and many animals. Through his new book, Glimpses, Matt lets us into the pivotal, tender, and hilarious moments of his life, all while issuing a call for simple human kindness.
Please welcome to the 700 Club, Matt Williams. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Terry.
And your beautiful book, Glimpses, so well done. We're going to talk about that. But first of all, talk about years ago when you were struggling before you landed the role of Dr. Ben on the soap. What was life like for you?
Oh, it was rough. I moved to New York. I was married at the time to someone else, and the marriage was shaky. I moved to New York with no contacts. I knew no one. I had one friend that lived there. And the first year, I could not get arrested. I mean, I couldn't get through any doors. I tried everything. I would go to the casting directors and knock, and they wouldn't open the door, so I would slide my picture and resume under and go, "Thank you." And then finally, I got this big break, and I read for a woman named Mary Lynn Henry at ABC. She cast all the soap operas and a few primetime shows. And I went in, and she had me read a scene. And I did, and I waited, and she picked up a pencil. I remember this. She looked at the pencil and went, and I said, "Do you want me to read another scene?" She said, "No."
Please don't.
Don't, please don't. And I went, I sat there and I'm going, what do I do? And she looked at me and she says, "I don't know how I could ever cast you unless it was as the hillbilly cousin."
Oh, my word.
And I went, "What?" And she says, "That accent. Is that Appalachian? Is that Mississippi? Where are you from?"
In New York, they have
In
no...
New York. And I said, "Southern Indiana." She says, "It's god-awful." She says, "That accent." She said, I can't cast you unless it's the hillbilly cousin." And I literally went home, and this is the pivotal point in my life, Terry. I went home, and I was living in a one-room studio apartment with no sunshine.
Oh, ouch.
And I bottomed out. I went, it doesn't get much lower than this. And when you hit bottom, you go, maybe I should consult a higher power.
Yeah.
And so when I pray, I pull out a yellow pad. I usually write and pray.
That's a good idea.
And I was writing and praying, and I go, "Lord, was this a mistake? Yeah. Am I fooling myself? Am I out of my mind? I came here, I know no one, I'm a hillbilly cousin, I'm never going to get hired." And that, what I call spirit voice, some people call it the true voice, intuition, yes. Holy Ghost, whatever, yes. God wink. Yeah. I intuited in my spirit voice, it said, "I will prosper you in ways you can't even imagine."
Wow.
And I did one of those cartoon, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
What? And it said again, I heard it in my spirit voice, "I will prosper you in ways you can't even imagine." And underneath that, I wrote the word trust. And I underlined it 3 times. And after that, I went, I'm going to trust that.
Yeah.
And
that's the journey in a nutshell.
That's
isn't
it. And from that moment on, and to make the story short, I said, if I'm a hillbilly cousin, I'll take voice lessons. So I did, from a man named Tim Monick. I erased the accent. I started auditioning. I got cast on Another Life.
So how did coming here to CBN, because that was quite a novel adventure for CBN to even have a soap opera. And so you come down here, you're playing Dr. Ben on the soap opera. How did that open the door to, was it Cosby that came next, right?
Yes. Well, while I was here, I was acting on the soap opera. I was never that great an actor. I was okay. But I was acting on the soap opera. But when I wasn't on the set or acting, I was writing. I was teaching myself how to be a writer. Wow. I was writing one-act plays. I was writing screenplays. I was teaching myself, because I was trained as a director and actor, but not a writer, and I kept writing. And I kept honing my craft on that. And then the executive producer, Linwood Boomer. Remember?
Can't make those names
No,
up.
Linwood Boomer was the executive producer of Another Life. And he noticed that I'd always stand around and watch the cameras. And he said, "Are you interested in this?" And I said, "Absolutely." He said, "Do you want to come in the director's booth?"
Oh, wow.
And for those who don't know, the director sits in a booth and there's 3 cameras and he'll go between the cameras.
Yeah.
And Linwood taught me how multicams work. And he said, "Do you want to go to the editing bay and watch us?" I said, yes. So while I was acting, I was getting trained. Now, this is the truth. I think it was exactly 1 week to the day after I shot my last episode of Another Life, I got a call from The Cosby Show.
Really?
And they said, "We read your 1 acts. They're pretty funny." And in the phone interview, they said, "Do you have any experience in multi-camera television?" And I said, "As a matter of fact, I do."
Wow.
And that's how
the power of a yes, and to be teachable, because God's always teaching us. You wrote for so many amazing shows in television. Did you have a favorite?
Oh, Home Improvement. Yeah, I'm still friends with Tim. That was a show where
that had to be fun just to be there.
The cast and what Tim would do, there's cameramen here. We're on camera, right?
Yes.
So what Tim would do during rehearsals always, he knew if he made one of the cameramen laugh,
it was good to
It was good. And so he was constantly experimenting. And we had the same cast, the same crew for all those years, for 200 plus episodes.
Wow.
And that was a really peak experience for me.
Well, every one of those experiences had to lead you further down the writing path to a better understanding and a deeper appreciation of what it takes. I mean, to write comedy is not an easy thing.
No, and a lot of people can't do it.
Yeah.
I always say you can't, I tell my students at Columbia, I go, I can't teach you how to be funny.
Yes.
I really think when you're born, God bonks you on the head with a funny stick and goes, okay, you're funny.
I think there's some truth to that.
You're funny. But you can't really teach someone how to be funny.
You've written Glimpses, and the subtitle, A Comedy Writer's Take on Life, Love, and All That Spiritual Stuff. What do you want the takeaway of this to be?
I want to encourage readers. Well, first off, I want them to laugh and enjoy the book. I want them to have a good laugh and enjoy it. But the purpose for writing this is to encourage people to look around and catch a little glimpse of God in their daily life.
Yes.
And by God, I'm not talking about burning bushes or rolling thunder. I'm just talking about little
everyday God moments.
Everyday God moments, unexpected kindness, compassion, tenderness. Yeah. And when you take the time to do that, you realize they're everywhere.
They are everywhere.
But you've got to be conscious. You've got to look for them.
Got to put your antenna up.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Today you're living on a farm, enjoying life, and I'm sure reveling in the stories that God has given you over the years, the breakthrough stories, but as the funny moments. It's a great book, Glimpses by Matt Williams. It's available nationwide, and so we want to encourage you to get it. You'll enjoy the read and learn something at the same time. Great. Thanks, Matt, for being with us. So
Thank
great to have
you so much.
You here.